The sound you just heard represents the moment the impossible became reality. In the martial arts world, certain figures achieve legendary status. Then there is Bruce Lee, an individual who did not simply excel at combat, but completely transformed our understanding of human physical capability. Decades after his passing, experts across multiple fields continue to analyze his achievements, struggling to comprehend how he performed such extraordinary feats. The uncomfortable truth that many hesitate to confront is this: several of Bruce Lee's documented accomplishments should be physically impossible for an ordinary person. The laws of physics cannot fully explain them. Human biology does not account for them, yet time after time he performed these acts. Numerous witnesses observed them. Recording equipment captured them. Specialists verified their authenticity. This is not folklore or cinematic illusion. This is verified reality that forces us to reconsider everything we believe about human potential. Prepare yourself for what you are about to learn, because it may make you wonder if Bruce Lee was truly human. Let us examine the documented evidence, the extraordinary evidence. First, consider the 45-kilogram sandbag. According to Guinness World Records, Bruce Lee struck a 45-kilogram sandbag with such force that it completely ruptured. Not tore, not ripped. It split entirely apart from the impact of a single blow. The technique used was the super side kick, which Bruce developed through intense, dedicated practice over many years. What makes this truly remarkable is that sandbags are specifically engineered to absorb punishment. That is their sole purpose. Professional heavyweight boxers strike these bags repeatedly for hours, and they remain intact. Bruce Lee hit it once, and it shattered completely. Physicists who analyzed this occurrence calculated that generating enough force to break such a heavy sandbag would be comparable to a small vehicle colliding with a wall at nearly 50 kilometers per hour. However, a vehicle has a powerful engine. Bruce relied solely on muscle, bone structure, and an extraordinary concentration of force. Consider what that type of impact would do to a human body. The damage to ribs, internal organs, and skeletal structure would be catastrophic. Those who trained alongside Bruce understood this reality. They consistently warned others that engaging him in combat was highly inadvisable. What makes this even more astonishing is Bruce's physical stature. He weighed approximately 59 kilograms at his heaviest. That is significantly less than most professional boxers, yet he generated impact forces that heavyweights would find difficult to achieve. This was not merely superior technique or optimal body mechanics. This was a power-to-weight ratio that defies typical human parameters. When sports scientists examined Bruce's muscle composition using available medical technology, they identified unusual characteristics. His muscle tissue was notably denser than average. His proportion of fast-twitch muscle fibers was exceptionally high. His neuromuscular response time, meaning how quickly his brain signaled muscle contraction, was measurably faster than that of trained athletes. Bruce's body was structurally different at a foundational level. Second, examine his encounters with martial arts masters. Bruce did not simply compete, he dominated decisively. True competition implies exchange, effort, a degree of parity. Bruce's actual confrontations, which occurred away from film sets, were demonstrations of overwhelming superiority that concluded almost instantly. One prominent example involves his challenge match with Vic Moore, a respected American karate champion. The arrangement was straightforward. Bruce would strike, and Vic would attempt to block the strikes. This seemed reasonable. In practice, it proved completely one-sided. The recorded footage demonstrates Bruce's strikes occurring at velocities that seemed to defy physical possibility. Moore, a trained champion, could not respond in time. His defensive movements were still in progress when Bruce's blows had already landed and returned to starting position. It resembled a video game where one participant has activated special advantages. Moore later maintained he blocked some strikes and even landed some of his own. The visual evidence indicates otherwise, yet Moore went on to become a highly accomplished karate master, winning numerous titles and training champions. He was an exceptional competitor. Bruce made him appear motionless by comparison. This transcends normal skill or training. This represents something fundamentally different. Understanding Moore's background makes this more impressive. He was not an inexperienced challenger. He was a proven champion with extensive competition history against numerous opponents. He understood how to anticipate movement and defend effectively. Bruce rendered all that knowledge irrelevant. The speed disparity was so extreme that neither experience nor training provided any advantage. Third, analyze the 135-kilogram punching bag. This particular claim continues to generate debate among experts. The assertion states that Bruce kicked a punching bag weighing 135 kilograms, approximately 300 pounds, with such force that it soared over 5 meters upward and struck the ceiling. Witnesses describe the bag reaching the height of a 2-story building. Physicists have examined this event repeatedly, performing calculations involving body mass, velocity, force transmission, and momentum conservation. Each time, the mathematical analysis indicates impossibility. A 59-kilogram individual should not generate sufficient force to propel 135 kilograms over 5 meters vertically. This appears to contradict established physical principles. However, James Coburn, the well-known actor who trained under Bruce, personally witnessed this occurrence. He described it in multiple interviews, expressing his disbelief at what he observed. Other students confirmed similar accounts. With multiple credible witnesses reporting identical observations, we face a choice. Either numerous trustworthy individuals are fabricating the same story, or Bruce Lee discovered methods of force generation that exceed our current biomechanical understanding. Given the pattern of his other achievements, which conclusion seems more reasonable? To understand the magnitude, lifting 135 kilograms over 5 meters requires approximately 6,600 joules of kinetic energy. For reference, punches from professional heavyweight boxers typically generate 1,000 to 1,400 joules. Bruce generated nearly 5 times that amount with a single kick, and witnesses report he performed this repeatedly, not just once. The bag would ascend, descend, and Bruce would repeat the action with identical results each time. Fourth, consider his nunchaku mastery. Many people are unaware that Bruce Lee actually disliked nunchucks intensely. He referred to them as useless, questioning why anyone would select them over more functional weapons such as swords or staffs. His friend and training partner, Dan Inosanto, had to convince Bruce to even attempt learning them. Bruce resisted, arguing that they were impractical for genuine combat. Dan persisted, and finally Bruce agreed to dedicate 3 months to learning this weapon, a process that typically requires years of devoted practice. The results shocked even Dan, who already recognized Bruce's exceptional abilities. After 3 months, Bruce handled nunchucks as though he had been training with them his entire life. His speed appeared inhuman. His accuracy was flawless. The striking force he generated, approximately 725 kilograms of impact, could easily fracture bone. Bruce transformed his opinion of nunchucks entirely, making them his signature weapon and popularizing them worldwide. This represents learning that goes beyond accelerated skill acquisition. It suggests Bruce's brain processed physical movement and technique through mechanisms fundamentally unlike those of typical individuals. Traditional practitioners in Okinawa spend decades perfecting nunchaku skills, starting in childhood and continuing throughout their lives. Bruce surpassed their level in 12 weeks. Part of this can be attributed to his learning philosophy. He did not merely repeat movements mechanically. He comprehended the underlying principles. He could deconstruct any technique into its essential components, understand the physics and mechanics involved, and then reconstruct it optimally. Still, this alone cannot explain his astonishing learning speed. Something additional was at work in how his brain formed neural connections and converted conscious thought into automatic movement. Neurologists refer to this as accelerated motor learning, and it is exceedingly rare. Bruce possessed this ability to a degree almost unprecedented in documented history. Fifth, examine the Yoichi-Nakachi confrontation. Jesse Glover, widely acknowledged as Bruce's first American student, described this event to Black Belt magazine in 1994. Nakachi was a skilled and dangerous karate master who had heard Bruce claim that soft-style kung fu was superior to hard-style karate. This claim angered Yoichi, and he publicly challenged Bruce to prove him wrong. Bruce initially ignored these challenges, but Yoichi persisted. Finally, Bruce agreed to a match under simple rules, 3 two-minute rounds, with unconsciousness determining the loser. 7 witnesses observed the event at the Seattle YMCA. When the match began, Yoichi threw the first punch. Bruce evaded easily and responded with straight punches that sent the karate master into a wall. Yoichi attempted to grab him, but Bruce was too quick. A simultaneous double punch to head and chest followed, then a finishing kick. The entire confrontation lasted 11 seconds. Afterward, Yoichi's face showed severe trauma consistent with being struck by a heavy object. He remained unconscious so long that witnesses feared for his life. Bruce appeared completely unconcerned afterward, as though defeating a trained master in seconds was routine. Significantly, Bruce requested all present to remain silent about the match. He did not want publicity, controversy, or his reputation enhanced by this victory. He simply wanted to resolve the dispute and move forward. This reveals something important about Bruce's character. He was not fighting for personal recognition. He was making a point about martial arts philosophy, about practical effectiveness versus traditional claims. His willingness to forgo massive publicity demonstrates that his commitment to martial arts was genuine, not self-promotional. Sixth, consider the two-finger push-ups. 200 consecutive push-ups using only 2 fingers. This record has never been approached, let alone broken. Most individuals cannot perform 10 standard push-ups. Bruce performed 200 on 2 fingers. He also completed 1,500 push-ups using both hands and 400 with one hand. These are not exaggerated claims. They are documented achievements with witnesses and video evidence. Two-finger push-ups demand extreme finger strength, wrist stability, core control, and total body conditioning. The entire body weight rests on 2 fingertips, placing enormous stress on tendons and small hand bones. Bruce repeated this 200 times consecutively. This indicates conditioning bordering on superhuman. It suggests significantly higher muscle fiber density, tendon strength, and neural efficiency than normal. Professional rock climbers, who specifically train finger strength, typically manage perhaps 20 to 30 such push-ups after years of dedicated focus. Bruce achieved 200 without specifically training for this exercise, simply as a result of his overall physical preparation. This implies Bruce's connective tissues were substantially stronger than normal, his bone density was higher, and his pain tolerance was extraordinary. Seventh, analyze his punching power relative to Muhammad Ali. Bruce weighed 59 kilograms, Ali weighed 118 kilograms. Ali had twice Bruce's mass, yet scientific measurements showed Bruce's punching force equal to Ali's, approximately 159 kilograms of impact. Consider this carefully. A man half the size generating equivalent force cannot be explained by skill or technique alone. It appears to violate basic physics, where force equals mass times acceleration. Bruce had half the mass, so he needed double the acceleration to match the force. His fist was moving so rapidly and transferring energy so efficiently that it compensated for the massive weight disparity. Bruce studied Ali obsessively, analyzing his fights, studying his footwork, incorporating boxing elements into his own style. When asked directly whether he could defeat Ali, Bruce honestly acknowledged the difference in their size and weight, recognizing that boxing was Ali's domain just as Kung Fu was his. However, the punching power measurements were real, verified by equipment that measures impact force objectively. Bruce registered 159 kilograms of force consistently. Other martial artists tested on the same equipment averaged 68 to 91 kilograms. Professional boxers in Bruce's weight class reached perhaps 113 kilograms. Bruce achieved levels that should have been physically impossible for his body mass. The explanation appears to be that Bruce optimized every element of punching mechanics: stance, hip rotation, shoulder drive, arm extension, fist formation, breathing, and timing. This perfection, combined with exceptional muscle density and neural efficiency, enabled him to surpass normal human limitations. Eighth, consider Chuck Norris's assessment of Bruce's abilities. Their famous fight scene in Way of the Dragon, filmed illegally in the Roman Colosseum, is legendary. However, they never actually fought in reality. Yet when Chuck Norris was asked who would win in a genuine fight, his response was immediate and unequivocal. Bruce, of course. Norris is an 8th-degree black belt grandmaster in Taekwondo, the only Westerner to achieve that rank. He is not an actor pretending to know martial arts. He is a legitimate master. His admission that Bruce would defeat him decisively indicates something far beyond normal martial arts skill. Norris had professional fighting experience, championships, and victories over elite competitors. He understood what separated good fighters from exceptional ones. In Bruce, he recognized something beyond even exceptional skill. Ninth, examine the kick speed claims. Bruce could execute 6 kicks in 1 second, not punches, but powerful, technically perfect kicks. 6 in a single second. The world record for most kicks in 1 minute is held by Solana Shamoun and her student, with 178 kicks in 60 seconds, approximately 2.9 per second. Bruce's rate was more than twice that speed. He achieved this through training with weights strapped to his ankles, which slowed him down, forced greater effort, and developed explosive power. When he removed the weights, his legs moved incredibly fast. However, many martial artists use weight training, yet none achieve 6 kicks per second. Something else was involved. Bruce's muscle fiber composition, neural pathways, or biomechanical efficiency. 6 kicks per second means each kick takes 0.166 seconds, approximately the time required to blink. Within that brief instant, Bruce had to chamber his leg, extend it with full force, make contact, retract, and reset for the next kick. The speed of muscle contraction required exceeds what sports science considers normal human capability. 10th, analyze the 1-inch punch. Perhaps Bruce's most famous power demonstration involved standing with his fist 1 inch from an opponent's chest and generating sufficient force to send the person flying backward. This seems physically absurd because power generation requires distance for acceleration. Bruce had only 1 inch of travel, yet he could knock individuals across rooms. Scientists studying this phenomenon discovered something remarkable. Bruce did not simply use his arm. He used his entire body as a kinetic chain, activating every muscle in sequence from toes to fingertips. Power originated in his legs, transferred through his hips, accelerated through his core and shoulder, and exploded through his fist. Everything occurred in a fraction of a second with perfect coordination. Other martial artists know and teach this technique, but none achieve Bruce's results. This suggests his neuromuscular coordination, his ability to fire muscles in perfect sequence, operated beyond normal human capacity. 11th, consider his training regimen. Bruce's documented training schedule appears impossible to sustain according to sports science. He would run 4 to 5 miles every morning, train for hours, lift weights 3 times weekly, practice techniques constantly throughout the day. He did this daily without rest days or recovery periods. His body should have broken down from overtraining, injury, and stress. Instead, Bruce thrived, becoming stronger and faster. Modern sports science emphasizes recovery and periodization because muscle growth occurs during rest. Bruce's body adapted to stress levels that would hospitalize normal athletes. His recovery speed was extraordinary, allowing maximum intensity training without the negative effects that affect typical individuals. 12th, the sweat gland removal. This decision may explain his death. Bruce had his armpit sweat glands surgically removed because sweat stains looked unappealing on camera. He was so dedicated to visual perfection that he removed a biological mechanism essential for temperature regulation. Sweat glands are vital for preventing overheating. Bruce voluntarily removed them. Shortly before his death, he fainted while recording dialogue in a hot, small room where air conditioning had been turned off to prevent noise interference. He collapsed and nearly died from cerebral edema, brain swelling caused by heat stroke. On July 20, 1973, it happened again, but this time he did not survive. The official cause was allergic reaction to medication, but biographer Matthew Polly argues he actually died from heat stroke, made worse by his inability to sweat. This tragedy reveals Bruce's extreme commitment to perfection, a dedication that led him to risk his health and ultimately may have cost him his life.